Hi, and welcome to the second episode of my vlog on my journey to achieve a double bodyweight squat at the age of 42 or 43, as it will be done then. So just thought I'd have a quick recap on what this vlog really is and why I've done it. So the goal, as I've just said, is within 12 months trying to achieve a double bodyweight squat, a feat I've never achieved before, even got close to before, and at the age of 42 is something that Primary Science said is unlikely to happen because of challenges increasing strength and muscle mass after 40 there basically. So in my last episode I kind of gave a bit of an overview of kind of the journey ahead and why I've chosen to do that. So just kind of a bit of a recap really. So at the minute, to achieve that double bodyweight squat, I've got to get maximum strength up. That's a given. But to do that, I probably need to make it realistic by decreasing my total amount of body mass. And last episode, my body weight was up at 97.7 on the chart, so that's way too high for me to be able to attack a double body weight squat. So that's going to come down. But I also need to then just do it by improving body composition, so increasing the amount of muscle mass and decreasing fat mass to give me the kind of biggest bang for my buck when I'm attempting that large squat. So currently, I'm detrained. I've not been doing any resistance training for a considerable amount of time with lockdown and access to facilities and all that kind of malarkey. So this was my first week back in the gym, and I'll have a little bit of a chat about that in a second. So first of all, I've got to be realistic. I can't attack a double bodyweight squat and rack up loads of plates on the bar today. It's not going to happen. I'm just going to break myself and set myself backwards rather than actually going forwards. And that's kind of the objective of this phase, is to just slowly get back into it. And build a really solid base to allow me to increase my volume and intensity over the coming weeks and months. So yeah, just basically transition back into resistance training, build up that kind of a training base, my ability to tolerate training volume without getting broken and getting sore and one session compromising the next 3 or 4. I've got to decrease my body fat percentage. That's something that's an immediate priority. And also it's not a bad thing from a health point of view as well, as to get that down, and then also to increase fat-free mass. And that's actually probably going to be the harder part of all of this, is getting rid of body fat percentage. It's not easy, but it's a relatively simple thing and doesn't really diminish with age. If you restrict your calories, you'll lose body fat percentage. But increasing fat-free mass at post-40 is going to be something that I think I'll struggle with and really got to work hard at, and that's as much diet as it is training. So last week I talked about diet. I don't really want to make this here a diet and nutrition lecture, but basically I'm trying to stick to around about 2,400 calories and hitting about 2 grams per kilo of protein in my diet. So that's around about 180 grams to 200 grams of protein per day. Just also kind of an aside, I am supplementing with creatine as well, so that has some issues around water retention in the early phases. Some people do, some people don't. Unfortunately, I don't have access to DEXA scanning or anything like that, so I don't know if I'm one of those, so I'm not. But initial gains in body mass and hydration status might actually be a bit of an indicator. So that's kind of my initial kind of focus at the minute. I'll talk about my training then. I'll talk a little bit about kind of progress so far. One of the things I want to talk about today is just kind of for those people who are looking at tracking body weight and issues around body weight is how we think about that number on the scale. What I've got here is 2 graphs. One is this blue line is the, I'll just kind of enlarge it if I can, is my daily mass. So that's the when I get first thing in the morning, it's the first toilet of the day, no clothes. So that's kind of as best score as you can get per day. As you can see, it goes up and down quite a bit. It's a bit of a zigzagged line. So what I try to do is use this orange line here, which is a 7-day rolling average. And as you can see, it's much more stable, it's much more smooth. It doesn't quite jump up and down. So if you are looking at losing body mass, things happen every day that kind of fluctuates. Quality of sleep, your daily activity, your food, your hydration, your toilet activities. They can have a big impact on how much you weigh on a given day. And I actually want to get a real accurate idea of how much I'm actually weighing and if I'm actually losing true weight, or is the weight on the scale once a week a real true reflection of my weight loss. So that's something that I recommend everybody thinks about, is not getting too up and down with daily changes in their body mass, because sometimes you're on a high, sometimes you're on a low, and that can be a real roller coaster for your training. So the 7-day rolling average will give you a real stable idea of if you're looking at a real change or a real increase. Now this is just for 7 days, so you're not going to see a huge amount of change there. It'd be nice if I saw a big change, but I haven't. I've just started resistance training, and so that's not a great calorie burner, and it also has some kind of water retention issues in the first couple of weeks. So I may not see huge changes in the first couple of weeks, but this is why 7-day rolling average over a couple of months would hopefully start to show a steady progressive decline. And also I'm trying to increase muscle mass. So if I was purely trying to lose body weight, body mass, that might be able to show much sharper decline, but that's not my training goal. So I don't need to get carried away about this not dropping like a stone straight away. It's something that I need to do over 12 months, not 12 days. The other thing to look at here, this is a 7-day average looking at my training weight. So I'm just going to click on this again. So this is when I go to the gym, they have a body scanning machine that I've used then. And again, I'm doing this every time I go to the gym. Most people do it once a month or something like that. But I know that science tells me that my body changes on a regularly basis and day to day, and circadian rhythms mean it changes within the day. So this is typically weighing in about 1.5 kilos to 1.2 kilos heavier than my morning weight. So morning weight is the first evacuation of the day. You've got no clothes on. This one, obviously, I'm in the gym, so definitely dressed. So just trying to making sure that I've kind of got a balanced understanding of what my body weight really actually is, as opposed to a really variable measurement. And again, I'm using a 7-day rolling average, and this is a little bit more smooth again. Just trying to keep an eye on a trend rather than daily kind of fluctuations. In terms of body fat percentage, I've seen a 1% drop since this time last week. And again, that could be something which is just down to the variability of the machine, slight variability in me. I think a 1% change over a week is nice, but it's not something I'm going to get overly concerned about. Over the next 2 to 3 months, I'd like to see that continue to drop 2, 3, 4, 5% over the next couple of months. That's something I'd be really happy with. I'm not going to get too carried away over what happened in week 1. For training, and then just tracking that again. So what I've got here is my targets and today, and then kind of an idea where I am within my distance to target. And I can track change relative to target. Again, I can have a graph for that. I'm not going to kind of bore you with too many graphs today, but that's kind of where I am today. Hopefully there'll be more to show in coming months. So I suppose this is a training vlog, so I'll put some training information up and try to explain what it is I've done and why I've done it. So I said in my last blog, I'm using the Delon Watkins system, which is 3 times 10. The first set is at 50% of 10 RM. The second set is 75%, and the third set is 100% of your 10 RM. I'm detrained, so I don't really have any clue at the minute what my 10 RM really is for many of these lifts. So it might actually take me 2 weeks of just experimenting with loads to find out what actually is a true 10 RM for me in each of these particular lifts. Especially in the first week, I might respond very rapidly. So what I think is my 10 RM in week 1 might not actually be my 10 RM in week 2, because I've adapted to that first stimulus of the training phase, and from no training whatsoever, that could be quite a rapid change. So I think this is going to be an active ongoing process, which is why I'm not going to put too many lows on here. They're not particularly impressive lows, not very much at all. Just to give you an indication, so this was my 3rd squat session of the training program. So I squatted on Monday of last week, Friday of last week, and today's been Monday, so I've done it again. So in a Monday squat session I did 40, 50, 60. On Friday I did 50, 60, 70, and today I did 40, 60, 80. So again, I'm not kind of sitting in the world records here with squatting loads. 80 today was probably a good challenge point. Hopefully by the end of the week, that 80, I'll do that again, that same protocol again, and hopefully that'll feel a little bit easier, and I'll be able to kind of start to plan more prescriptive loads and actually be really kind of push myself on those last sets and getting those set balances right. But again, it's week 1. I don't feel I need to achieve my record today. It's a work in progress. It's 12 months. It's not about wasting sessions, but it's also not about kind of trying to crush yourself each session to try and get there. The balance at the minute is more upper body than lower body. Again, that's just reflecting of how much volume my legs can take. The upper body's a little bit more able to share that load out because we've got so many more different types of movements, so we're not kind of hitting the same muscle group time and time again. But this will progressively change over time. But again, this is reflecting of what load I can tolerate this week. I think I've probably been too conservative this week. I've not really felt any DOMs or soreness, which is good. That was my intention. But I probably could have done a little bit more. The Wednesday session was something that I tried to kind of manipulate to try and remove DOMs from the week. So DOMs comes from, or delayed onset of muscle soreness, from eccentric activity, and also anything that's really novel and new. So for my first session of squats, yeah, really light session, so I hopefully managed that okay. Doubling up straight away 2 days later might have been a trigger for some soreness. So what I did is clean pulls, where it was the pull up only, so just pulling off the floor and dropping the weight. So there's no lowering the weight, no eccentric component. And I did some isometric exercises with the rear foot elevated split squat. So both these exercises are no eccentric activity whatsoever. That minimised my opportunity to get DOMs. So I didn't have any DOMs at all this week. So I kind of used some kind of knowledge there to get a good training week in and not really feel too affected. I've had 2 rest days. I was pretty active on these days, but there was just no actual scheduled training. Did a lot of walking around, 20,000 steps approximately each day. So not being kind of sitting around on my backside, but no actual structured training. So that's kind of an overview of my training week so far. We'll probably do something very similar again. Need to pick up the running a little bit. I have used cycling this week again, just trying to minimise the impact on the legs, keep the legs fresh while they adapt to this new impulse, which is to squat more and do good mornings and do some more clean pulls. So just letting the legs have a bit of a light load. I think cycling is a little bit less demanding on your legs from a mechanical loading point of view than cycling. So I'll try and increase some running this week, but probably do 1 cycle, 1 run this week, and then hopefully as my kind of tolerance to strength training comes up, so does my ability to do some running. So that's kind of a very brief overview of this week. Happy to have anybody who listens to it come back and have a chat. And I'll let you know how I got on next week. Bye bye.